नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् प्रातस्मरामि हृदि संस्फुरतात्मतत्त्वं सच्चित्सुखं परमहंसगतिं तुरीयं यत्स्वप्नजागरसुषुप्तमवैति नित्यं तद्ब्रह्म निष्कलमहं न च भूतसङ्गः। Till yesterday we saw the nature of Purusha and Prakriti in the context of Sankhya and Yoga. Sankhya is the theory of existence, where Purusha is the sentient principle and Prakriti is matter. And the Prakriti does not act on its own, and Purusha is that which is a witness and whose presence Prakriti does all the actions. Sankhya as a philosophy has given clarity in thinking with respect to understanding what the world is, dividing broadly the entire creation into three parts: Sattvika, Rajasika and Tamasika. Tamasikam, or the gross one, makes the gross world. Rajas is that which makes the activity, and Sattva is that which is contemplative, which is subtlemost. And Purusha is inactive but not inert, sentient, witness, aware but not participating. Purusha, when looks at its own reflection in the Prakriti, he becomes a Jiva. As different from, on the contrary to Vedanta, where the world is said to be not real, Sankhyan philosophy does not say it is not real, it is real. Prakriti is the cause for this creation. And Purusha is not the creator. And both of them anadi, beginningless. So matter is a true existence, it is there, according to Sankhya's. Yoga as a philosophy is bringing a practice of this Sankhyan philosophy in the form of how to deal with this Prakriti and how to get liberated from Prakriti. The realization of Purusha as independent of Prakriti is called enlightenment, freedom, for which it is necessary that Purusha has to detach itself from this Prakriti. That is not possible so long as there are impurities. Because of the long association of the Purusha with Prakriti, lot of impurities have been created, which are known as kleshas. That is where we stopped yesterday. We talked about the tapas and swadhyaya in Ishvara Pranidhana. And we have 5 impurities or kleshas: avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha and abhinivesha. Avidya is ignorance, asmita is ego sense, raga passion, dvesha revenge or hatred, and abhinivesha fear of non-existence. Now, before we proceed further on this point, we also saw the impurities in us, kleshas in us, can be of 4 different states. The kleshas can be inactive, inert. That is known as dormant, which is in the prasupti state. Prasupta means that is dormant, it is not. As in the case of a child whose tendencies and likes and dislikes are not known to us until the faculties are developed. Otherwise, the children will say, oh, they are gods, they are God on earth until they grow up. Once they grow up, the faculties are there, then they express their personality. That's why what we call personality. Personality means expression of these kleshas. Priorities, likes and dislikes and opinions, strong prejudices, notions, it's all manifest. Until then it is dormant. In us also, certain of our impurities, kleshas are dormant until we have a particular circumstance that arises in our life. Sometimes they remain dormant for a whole life also. And next life it will come out. Because some of the impurities that are there, they didn't have the chance to come out. So they are called prasupta, dormant. There are impurities that are thinned down or made tanu. Tanu means they have become very, very weak. This happens when we take up to practices like meditation, pranayama, etc. Asana, yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, the Ashtanga Yoga, when we take up seriously, which again, as I have been emphasizing, it is the methodology to be away and stay independent of Prakriti. So in the process of being independent of Prakriti matter, the individual gives less and less importance to all different influences of Prakriti. For example, if you are sitting for, you are doing some asana or doing some pranayama, at that time some other thought comes to you, why not a coffee and then sit down? Or why not put a music? So many other distractions may come, but you say no, that means you are trying to stay away from the influence of the Prakriti. So, Tanu Karanam, meaning to thin down, is the very purpose of Kriya Yoga. So then, this is considered as a second aspect of the expression of the kleshas. The third one is known as vichinna, interrupted, where a person has a great attachment towards another person, but then due to some circumstance you have anger on the same person. So what happens is, the anger distracts you from another impurity called attachment. Not that it is gone, it is not disappeared, but it is not expressing in full measure. So because anger has come, and therefore the attachment is staying in the background, it's not gone. When the anger is gone, it will come back. Or attachment to another person is still there. So many other attachments are there. The attachment as an impurity is not gone. With respect to this person, he is presently not active. One should understand how the impurities cannot be only related to one particular object or a person. Attachment as an impurity is still there. In fact, most of our anger is because of attachment only. Kamayesha krodayesha. Because of kama alone, krodha can come. If you do not have an interest in any person, about that individual or an object, you don't have any anger. Why? You are not even bothered about it. So, but if I have a desire for a thing and it is denied to me, then anger will come. So, indirectly, desire is there which is leading you to get angry about it. So, desire as an impurity has not gone just because anger has come. But to that person, it is tanu, but with everything else, it is still udara, active. The last fourth one is udara, actively it is there. The impurities are actively present. So prasupta, it is dormant. Tanu, thin. Vichinna, distracted. And udara. Udara means that which is fully active, present. Now, having understood this much, these 5 different expressions of the impurities, kleshas, together make our personality. That's why each one's combinations are so different. And the expressions are also not always the same. So, therefore, our personality is constituted of all different combinations, permutations, etc. Now, when we come to this next topic, as I said, liberation or moksha according to Yoga Shastra is realization of Purusha independent of the Prakriti. The closest to Prakriti which is constantly active in us is the mind. Body also sometimes we don't even look at it carefully. But mind, it is always there. Sometimes you are busy doing something very seriously, you don't even know that you have a body. Unless it starts having a pangs of hunger or physical pain, and then you, pay attention to it. Otherwise, when the body is healthy and then active, then you don't even know that the physical body is there. Or you are engrossed in some other activity, you don't even know that the physical body is there. But the mind, so essentially, Yoga Shastra says, getting rid of the mind, you conquer Prakriti. It is the subtlemost personality of ours, most subtle. It's called Sukshma Sharira. That Sukshma Sharira in expression is this physical mind, the mind. That mind needs to be completely shut down. That is Chitta Vritti Nirvana. So Prakriti has to be completely put under total stoppage. And the closest one which makes us constantly engage with the Prakriti is, or the influence of Prakriti is the mind. That's why Ramana Maharshi also says, Manasam tu kim marjane krite, naiva manasam marja arjavad. Now, in Vedantic point of view, mind doesn't exist. Ramana Maharshi says straight about this. There is nothing called mind, you are thinking it is there. Now, anyway, yoga is not talking about that mind doesn't exist. It is there, you have to take care of it. Probably they are very practical for common men who do not that much appreciate philosophy, would say, "Oh, okay, mind is not, but I have to deal with things. I have to talk, I have to walk, I have to express, I have to emote." It's there. So in the practice of yoga, the mind has to be completely put under stoppage. Totally it has to be conquered. Now, mind expresses in 5 ways. See, I told you, Sankyans are very classifying people. Go on, classify. Like any science, you go on, understand, make it according to certain, categories. That's why Samyak Kyareti Sankhya. Categorization. They say there are 5 important things you should understand. Pramana, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidra and Smriti. These are the 5 things. Mind is active with 5 different ways. Pramana, perception. That is, first one is perception. Viparyaya, wrong notions. Then it's come fancy, which is known as Vikalpa. 4th one, which you all know, Nidra. And then Smriti, memory. These are the 5 expressions of the mind, which is the seat of most of our impurities. Almost all. What is perception? Now, yoga as a science of perfection, taking lot of inputs from Sankhya, says Purusha is awareness. It doesn't engage in activities. It's a witness. It's a drishta. Not a drik, drishta. Drishtr. Drik also, it means the seer. In Trigdrishya Viveka, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, Sakshi drigeva natu drishyate. I will come to that point a little later. Sakshi, Atma, drigeva, drik, the seer alone, na drishyate, is not seen. Yet, this, in the presence of the Purusha, Prakriti does all the activities. The subtlemost which we can understand is mind. When I see an object, please pay attention. When I see an object, the seeing as a function when it takes place, what is that activity? That is what they are trying to explain. What is a perception? Perception means all sense activities are perceptions. Seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. These are all perceptions. So what is a perception? Pramana. Perception as a whole is divided into 3 parts. One is cognition, inference, testimony. Now, first of all, cognition. A cognition is where, when I see an object physically with my eyes, it is not my eyes which is seeing the object. Eyes are the external instruments which by themselves are not capable of seeing anything. So it is the mind through the eyes which is seeing the object. Again, what is this mind? It is thought. If you stand in front of me and if I am occupied with some other thought, I don't recognize you. Even though my eyes are open, because thought is not there. You are all sitting, ears open, I cannot consider everybody is listening. Because there is possibility that you are occupied with something, yesterday's party, something, I think what song it was and thinking about it. Ears are open. No cognition taking place. So the ears are not listening, eyes are not seeing, tongue is not tasting, nose is not smelling, skin is not touching. They are the external organ used by the thoughts to transact with the objects outside. And objects themselves cannot make me experience anything without me participating in that. There is an object there next to me. If the sense organ is shut down, and obviously like in the sleep where you have so many things around in your room but you don't see it, why? The organs are shut down. Or the thoughts are not there. So objects cannot make my experience complete. Organs cannot. If the thought is not there, none of them can. So thought must be there. So now what is a thought? What is a vritti? Awareness using Prakriti to connect with the object. Subject-object relationship. Awareness, consider awareness like a liquid, just for an example. Consider awareness as a liquid and you pour it into a particular shapely bottle or whatever, some mold, it takes that shape. Correct? So that it takes that shape and you think that liquid is of that shape. No, it is not. Liquid is liquid. It does not have a shape. It does not have a form. But because it has come in association with a particular mold, it takes that mold. In the same way, awareness expressing through because of the proximity of the object, please, proximity of the organ, sorry. You must recognize this point. It is not awareness wanting to go to the object. It is the mind or the flow of awareness through the instrument in touch with the object make an experience complete. So awareness passing through the functioning part of the eyes, meaning the function called seeing, with the help of the eyes, seeing things. The moment it sees a flower, for example, through the eyes, the awareness takes the form of the flower. Akar, form. And it not only takes the form, it also takes the texture and characteristics. And that is the reason why we think awareness is modified. Awareness of a flower has become flower awareness. Awareness of a sound, music, become music awareness. Awareness of a touch become touch awareness. Smell, smell awareness. Taste, taste awareness. That's why in Vedanta it is called Upadhi. Our eyes are the Upadhi. Why it's called Upadhi? In Sanskrit there is a beautiful definition for that. Ube samipe stitva swiyam rupam anyatra adadadi idi Upadhi. The definition for this is Upa and Adi. Upadhi. Upadhi means a faculty. Upa means Samip. So, Upe Samipe, nearby, Stitva, staying, Swiyam Rupam, one's own nature, Anyatra, to the other, Purusha, Adadadi, gives. That is called Upadhi. If you take a crystal ball and put it on a blue cloth, it will look blue. Crystal has never become blue. But the blueness of the cloth seen through this crystal makes the crystal appear as blue. No. If you look carefully, the crystal has never become the blue. Neither the blue cloth has ever extended anything to that crystal. It is not. But from a perception, that is called the perception. When you perceive that, it appears like a blue crystal there. That's why we worship Bhagavan Shiva as a crystal. No color, it's a Purusha. But when it is associated with that, it has an apparent illusion as though it has taken that form. So perception is Purusha as awareness apparently flowing through the sense organs to contact the sense object and coming to have an apparent experience. Everything is apparent. That is called perception. So Gurudev calls it as an unholy wedlock. Unholy because Purusha gets polluted because of it. Polluted in the sense, apparently getting connected to the matter because of the proximity. So a perception is where the awareness flowing through, like a liquid, through the sense organs, and when a sense activity takes place, it takes that form. Interesting thing is, in that taking that form, the awareness taking that form is cognized by the intellect and it says, I know. And it says that I am the knower. That is called asmita. Asmita means I sense. That is ego. I know. The ego sense of I am the doer, I am the seer, etc. That takes place at the level of the buddhi. In other words, mistaking buddhi to be a Purusha is called asmita. The knowing faculty assuming itself to be the awareness. Just like a sunlight falling on a opaque, what do you call it, a transparent, not transparent, a reflecting media. How the reflecting media assumes to be the source of light, which is not. If it assumes itself to be the source of light, that is called asmita, ego sense, ahambhava, karta aham. While the real awareness is not at all engaged in any activity. It is just expressing itself as awareness. So let us understand this carefully. Awareness in the proximity of whom the mind takes the form of the perceived object through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, etc. So the mind stuff changes its nature, which is called reflected consciousness, reflected awareness, takes a form and assumes it to be, assume it to be myself, oneself. So Purusha as though is an experiencer of joy, sorrow, success, failure, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, knowing, not knowing. This is called perception. Now this perception, when the object is wrong or circumstance in which you have a wrong perception, it's called wrong notion. It's called viparyaya. Viparyaya is where the mind has a wrong notion about things. Either because of its own personal experience or it is because it is given that particular idea by some other source. When I do not know about a person, I ask somebody, who is this person? And you give an information because I know you and you give that information. Is it not then I will have a notion about that person based upon what you say? While reality, what is that object? What really it is, I don't know. I am given a wrong information and I assume that to be true because I believe you unnecessarily. This is called wrong notion, where the truth of an object is obscured by a wrong information. Either because I have either because of the source of information is wrong, or my perception itself is wrong. The instrument that I use is wrong. Like in the case of seeing snake on the road. That's called viparyaya. So the mind will have perception. Not all our perceptions are right. In fact, we have so many wrong notions about things in this world. Is it not? Indian houses smell. I mean, most of the time it is true. You go to any house, this is Gujarati house. How do you know? Tadka smell. Isn't that true? People from Kerala never work in their own state. This is God's own country. It is true. Their hands are busy, they're tying and untying the dhotis. Busy. So we have some notions, right? We have so many such notions. It is not your own, or it may be your own experience. Only once, maybe, then you conclude it. That is right. Maybe the way you looked at it or the circumstance in which you that experienced is. Yesterday also I explained that. How we come to wrong notions. Yesterday evening I explained it. Some of you were not this way. Anyway, I can say anything now. So, wrong notions. So, either we really know our own personal experience or it has been from somewhere else, somebody told us and therefore. So, this is called the second aspect of the mind, which is called viparyaya, wrong notions. So, the mind, either it has assumed itself to be the Purusha, perception, perceiver. The perception also causes a lot of agitations in our mind. And second one is the wrong notions that are there. The third one is called fancy, vikalpa. Meaning it is not either your perception nor notion, but it is imagination. Mental imagination about ghosts. Which these things are not there, but you see it. See, at least when I say, give the example, you saw the snake on the rope, you've seen the snake, and you've seen the rope. So earlier perception, earlier your memory has acting upon something else due to certain circumstances outside. That is different from your own mental fancies. You look at a person, oh, he's so beautiful, so nice this person. Only when you go near and then start interacting, you will know what it is. So then that is called a fancy. What happens is, if you have a very such high fancy, even if the object is in front of you, you will still have the fancy. Passion for things. People have fancies for the whole life, they will never change. So that is called vikalpa. Fancy for things. A very intense desire for things in spite of the fact that it is not desirable. This is called fancy. So, pramana, pratyaya, vikalpa. The fourth one is nidra. Nidra, according to yoga philosophy, nidra is where mind stuff is not absent. Though Vedanta does not accept mind is present in the sleep, but yoga philosophy says it is present. Why? Because it is able to recollect the pleasure that is experienced. This way they say, in the state of sleep, mind is still there, experiencing pleasure that it derives out of the relaxation. The absence of things, the absence of modifications, it is enjoying its own pleasure, joy. And that is experienced by the matter there in the presence of the Purusha. So therefore, there is the presence of the mind stuff even in sleep according to yoga. The last one is, what is it? Smriti, memory. Memory is related to the latent tendencies derived out of earlier experiences, earlier perceptions, either of this life or life beyond, life bygone, before. Memory. And memory is the one which makes you get engaged into various things, and it is called spontaneous activities, not planned activities. There's a lot of discussion on that point. Let me give you one or two here. Because this subject can be very vast. Each one, if you take it up, it's very vast. Now, memory, for example. The child knows how to drink the milk from the mother. Nobody taught him. Okay, even if you say mother teaches, the calf knows how to do that with mother. How? Nobody teaches. The fear of death is a notion. It's not a memory. Because you have forgotten. If you remember how you died, then I can call it as a memory. Fear of death is a wrong notion. Actually, there is no fear. But because we do not have sufficient information, it becomes a fear. Anyway, that's a different topic. We'll take it up when it comes. Memory is therefore not inherent. It is a latent tendency that is present, which you recall when an occasion comes. And it prompts you to act, whether you like it or not. The Purva Samskaras leading you to present actions. This connection between these two, Purva Samskara and present action, is the memory, Smriti. So, Pramana, Pratyaya, Vikalpa, Nidra and Smriti. These are the 5 activities of the mind which are very continuously happening without much interruption, constantly going on. And therefore, to quieten this mind has to be practiced. In other words, all these 5 different activities prompted by kleshas have to be brought down, and that is where Kriya Yoga comes. Okay. Now what are these kleshas? Yesterday we saw avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesh. Now let us take up one by one here. First, when we take avidya, in Vedanta, na vidyate iti avidya. Simple definition is, I don't know. What is avidya? Ignorance. I don't know. Yoga philosophy doesn't come to that conclusion. So that is where these philosophies differ in their way of looking at things. What is the nature of avidya? Here is the 5th sutra which says, Anitya ashuchi dukkhatmasu nitya shuchi sukhatmagatyadihi avidya. Sutra number 5 in section number 2, Sadhana Pada. Anitya ashuchi dukkhatmasu, in that which is impermanent, impure, of sorrow and full nature, the idea that it is nitya, it is eternal, shuchihi, pure, sukhatma, of the nature of joy, khyati, notion, avidya. Ignorance is a wrong notion about that which is impermanent as permanent, impure as pure, of sorrow as joyful. This wrong notion is called avidya. As I have told you, yoga does not propagate Vedas as the scriptures are to be as a pramana. Meaning, it is non-Vedic tradition. In other words, It is a non-Vedic tradition. It doesn't propagate worship and prayer and then all the rituals and no. Yoga philosophy does not propagate any one of those because it is not belonging to the Vedic tradition. And therefore, na vidyate iti avidya, not knowing, and so they say, what knowing about what? Through what? Because the Vedantic interpretation will be a lack of self-knowledge through scriptures, not studying Upanishad. Is it? Nothing doing. It is wrong notion that is taking place in your head. That is avidya. So, let us take the example. Anitya vastu. So that which is not eternal. Idea that it is eternal is avidya. For example, this world, we all think that it was there before I was born. It is there when I am now, and it will be there tomorrow. And our notion is this world will be there forever. This is anitya, and in that we have idea of nityam is called avidya. Jagati satya buddhi. Vedanta what it says is Jagati satya buddhi avidya. Yoga says Jagati nitya buddhi is avidya. Now let me make that point clear to you. Vedanta says thinking the world as real is avidya. Whereas Yoga says thinking the world is eternal is avidya. It doesn't say asatyam. It is anitya. There's a big difference between these two. Because Vedanta says, if it is asatyam, what is the question of nityatva of that? If it is not even true, where you are asking about eternality of it? It's not even there. So let us just close the show there. Whereas Yoga philosophy being rooted on the Sankhyan idea, I am not saying the world is not there. But world will not be there all the time. Nityatva of the world is to be questioned. Eternality of the world to be questioned. Why? Because everything is changing. Nothing remains the same. Everything is constantly changing. So, what you see today is not the same thing tomorrow. It's constantly changing. So, anything that is constantly changing cannot be eternal. It changes its nature all the time. Taking on the same point, Vedanta says, anything that is constantly changing cannot have satyatvam of it. Intrinsically, it cannot be true. That is their argument. I am not going to that, that will become another point of view. Now, here come back to this. So, nityatva, eternality of the world is questioned. Eternality of the prakriti which is appearing me in front of me as the world. Because Prakriti is there eternally, but it is constantly changing. So nothing is eternal. The law as a Prakriti may be there, but the objects which is manifesting now as the world cannot be always there. Therefore, Yoga digs at the Veda's perception. You say heavenly people are all the Devatas are all immortal. Cannot be. Nothing is immortal except the Purusha. So the idea of going to heaven etc. is one single way or pull the carpet there itself. If everything is anityam, where is the question of Devatas being immortal? That is also not possible. It's all just make-believe things. So nothing that is other than the Purusha can ever remain eternal. And Prakriti as a law, like for example, if I put a mango seed, mango tree will come. That is a law. That won't change. But the mango tree will die. But the law that the mango seed will bring mango tree, that law won't change. That is Prakriti. That's a law of creation. The objects, no object which is created by Prakriti is eternal. So first one is anitya vastusu nitya bhavaha avidya. This is first one. Ashuchi vastushu suchitvam. Impure things, considering them to be pure. Only when you open you see. Layer after layer only filth. Our Gurudev used to say, Bhagavan has packaged it so well, you will not know what are the impurities that are there. This physical body has been packed very well. Only when you open you know, layers are layers of. Isn't it? Naristana navidesham drishtva maga mohavesham etan mamsavasadi vikaram manasi vichinteya varam varam. Bhajagojam says, please understand this word. Body is nothing but mamsa vikaram. It is nothing but a, what do you call that? Modification of flesh, blood, bones and fecus and the urine and whatnot. Don't just think about it again. So that's why later on we see how to overcome impurity, pratipaksha bhavana. Looking at the opposite. We'll come to that a little later. Little later. So, ashuchi vastushu shuchisvava. Shuchi bhava. Meaning thinking that thinking about impure things as pure, that is avidya. This physical body is not a clean one. If it is clean, you never need to clean it. Is it not? The moment you go home, I'm feeling so clean, you have to take a shower. After that you put a lotion after lotion after lotion. Sleep. Next morning you get up, again it is impure. Again you have to clean. When we were traveling in Kailash, few days no bath. Everybody was wonderful smell. And when we are talking to everybody with great respect, how are you? When you go to Mahatmas, you talk with them, how are you? Like that only we have to talk with everybody. Because they smell so badly. And the people who are there, the Sherpas and then this, the porters who go with us, they take bath only maybe. We take bath only once in a day. They take bath every year. Every year they take bath. Every year they take bath. We take bath only once in a day. So, from a good distance, at least 10 feet you can smell that. And they come very close to you and they Tushitale. Meaning namaskar in their language. We have to bow down and say yes. They smell so bad. So the physical body, if it is not cleaned properly or taken care, it's basically it is filth. But we have a notion that it is so clean. Ashuchi vastushu suchi bhava. That is also avidya. Ignorance. Dukkhatmasu sukha bhava. In that which is full of sorrow, idea of joy. That is also called avidya. The thing is, the fourth one is also there. That which you can never own, the idea of ownership, that is also avidya. Which one do you own? What do you own? One person, he was traveling from one place to another, and he saw a beautiful palatial building. So he just went inside. So outside there was a watchman or security. He stopped him. He said, "Where are you going?" And I want to meet the master of this house. He's not available. Why he's not available? No, he is busy. No, I wanted to talk to him. By the time the master of the house, he was standing outside. Okay, I said, let him in. And he went inside. Who are you? He said, I want to stay in this house. Who are you? How does it matter to you? I want to stay. You cannot stay here. Why? It is my house. Oh. Then he looked at, there was a big picture of somebody's portrait was there. Who is this person? This is my father. Oh. What about that? That's my grandfather. Very good. What about that? That's my great-grandfather. Where are they? So they said, they are dead and gone. They were here? Yes. Gone. You are also going to go. Everybody is going to go. Who owns what? Neither you are also a traveler, I am also a traveler. What's the big deal? You are also not going to own it because the building will remain after you go also. Your father was here, grandfather was here, great-grandfather was here. They all were there, stayed for a while and went. It is only a lodge, so I can also stay there. Good argument. Really we don't own, we have a notion of owning things. Before you owned, somebody else owned it. When you go and buy a car, was it not owned by somebody else before? The what called distributor or so many others, they owned it. Now for a while you own it. After that you finish it and then give it to somebody and then they own it. So it's constantly it is changing. Nobody owns nothing. In this building, it was not there 5 years back, somebody else owned it. Today it is there, after some time it will be somebody else's. You own nothing. The idea of ownership. This physical body, do you think you own it? Your son says it is my father. But he claims it to be his. Your wife says this is my husband. She claims it to be his. After some time when you die, nobody wants to claim it. At least, it is said, a live chicken is $50 and a dead chicken is $70. I don't know about the price now. When a chicken dies, it has more cost because it's a food value. You die, nobody bothers. Throw it away. Human body is most useless. At least other living beings, they take the skin and do something. Purse and then a belt and then so many things you wear. Skin of this snake and then goat and whatnot. Human? And when you die, so many other bacteria and other things which are already sitting there in you start eating you. Even now it is eating you. So who owns what? So this physical body, idea that I own this or I own the things outside, that is also called avidya. Wrong notion. Anitya, ashuchi, dukkhatmasu, nitya, Suchi, Sukha, Khyatihi, avidya. Khyati means a notion, a misunderstanding. Now, when this wrong notion is there, I do not see things in its real color. So, what avidya does, as Gurudev would say, non-apprehension of the reality leading to misapprehension. Most of us cannot remain saying that I don't know. I don't know that. We have our own. The neighbor that was recently somebody moved, do you know him? I don't know him. I think he's a crook. You cannot just stop saying by saying I don't know. Because if you say I don't know, people think that you're good for nothing. So I don't know, but I think he's a crook. Why do you say that? Because he looks exactly like my brother-in-law. That's all. That is the wrong notion. Why do you have to say that statement? Because non-apprehension is one thing. This takes place because of tamas. Misapprehension that takes place out of rajas. It cannot remain I don't know. So avidya as a natural tendency is to give a wrong idea about things, not remaining only just. That's why he says it is not just I don't know. It's a wrong notion. And again, as I said, the very word avidya, here there is a beautiful explanation from Vyasa's commentary. Yata na amitro mitrabhavo na mitramatram kintu tat viruddha avidyana pramanan na pramana abhavaha kintu vidya viparidam jnanantaram avidya. Yata, just as amitra, when you say, mitra means friend. If I say he is amitra, amitra does not mean he doesn't exist or he is not there. He is neither a mitra, neither he is a friend, nor he doesn't exist. He is against me. Amitra, when you say, he is an enemy. Do you understand that point? That's why he says, mitra bhavaha na. Na mitra bhavam kintu tad viruddha. He is not a friend, but he is opposite. Avidya na pramana abhavaha kintu vidya viparidam jnanantaram. Just like when you say na mitra, not friend, when you say, obviously he is not a friend, number one. Secondly, it's not that he is absent. He is present against me. So, Vedanta holds a view, some school of Vedanta holds a view, avidya is abhava. Whereas another school of Vedanta would say, school of Vedanta scholars, they say avidya is bhava. What do we mean by that? Ignorance is presence or absence. If it is absent, it can never give you experience. But ignorance leads to so many problems. So therefore, here yoga holds the view, avidya is bhava-swarupa, in the form of wrong notions, leading to lot of other complexities. Because the other four of them, asmita, raga, dvesha and abhinivesha, are all byproducts of avidya only. Ignorance is the one which is giving birth to all other four kleshas. The next one being asmita. Asmita means asmi iti bhava asmita. Aham asmi, In Sanskrit, aham asmi means I am present, I am. The idea that I am is asmita. But this idea that I am is coming from where? From the buddhi. From the reflected consciousness. When I see a thing, as I explained, when I see a thing, it is awareness passing through the faculty of mind and through the sense organs to the sense objects, capturing its nature or capturing its form, coming to have a notion, I know. The notion is owned by buddhi. And it has an idea, I am. This wrong notion, which does not belong to it, which does not belong to the buddhi, the nature of knowing is Purusha, awareness. But the buddhi owns it up, saying that I am the one who makes it possible to know. This ego sense, this I sense, which is now being expressed by the buddhi, is what is called asmita. Just like as I give the example, the sunlight passing through a cup of water or a bucket of water, reflecting a light, the dark room become lit by the pot of water on which the sunlight has fallen and it makes the reflection possible. Can the bucket of water say, I am the source of light? That is what is happening. The buddhi considers itself as awareness. That is what is called ego sense. So from there it begins in I know it, I am great. All that starts. Not attributing to that to Purusha. So mistaking buddhi to be the Purusha, mistaking intellect to be the awareness is called asmita, ego sense. What it amounts to? Pride. I know, you don't know. And also idea that asmita also leads you to raga and dvesha. Next one, raga and dvesha. The next one is the idea that I am the knower, number one. Following that is I have Asmita is drik darshana shakyoho ekatmata eva asmita. Drik darshana shakyoho. Drik, the seer. Darshana is the seeing, the activity of seeing. In this combination of experiencer and the experiencing, the act of experiencing. Dik darshana shakyoho, that which is capable of seeing, which is the buddhi. Purusha as a pure awareness does not engage in any activity, as I told you. But in the proximity of which buddhi has the ability to engage in the function of knowing. Let me give you another example. Fire is there. Does the fire cook? Does the fire cook your food? No. Does the fire cook? It won't. Fire only gives the heat. Cooking is taking place in the vessel. If the vessel is not there, put all the rice into the fire. It will burn. Does the fire boil the water? Now answer carefully. Does the fire boil the water? Yes or no? Then pour the water into the fire. It won't. It needs intermediary. The fire is capable of creating the heat in the proximity of which the vessel that has the water gets boiled. So the vessel cannot take credit for this. Because of me only the water gets boiled. No doubt you played a part, but you are not the one who made the cooking or the boiling possible. The heat is absent, then what will you do? Put the water and then wait. Nothing happens. So the vessel that is there is an intermediary because of which the boiling is possible, but in the proximity of the fire, in the presence of the fire. In the same way, in the presence of awareness, all experiences takes place, but the awareness is not the experiencer. Purusha is not the experiencer here. Purusha's presence is necessary for the experience. That's why drik, the seer, darshana shakya, meaning that which is capable of seeing or perceiving, tayoho ekatmata, thinking that it is one eva asmita. The asmita is thinking that the drik eva, that the seer alone is the experiencer. Seer is not the experiencer. Seer is the one which makes the experience possible for the buddhi. So when I am enjoying a beautiful coffee, it is not the awareness is enjoying the coffee experiencer, it is a tongue. In fact, it is a mind. Tongue doesn't taste anything. Tongue only sends information. And my buddhi is the one which is, what a coffee. Wow! That experience of the coffee, which is so tasty, it is the experience for the buddhi which has the earlier memories, which recollects and says, this is exactly like what in Madras coffee. If there is no reference at all, you cannot say it is good. How do you know it is good? This is the first time I am drinking. Then I have to compare with something else. Then only I can judge it as nice or not nice, right? So memory has to come into play. The latent tendencies have to come into play. Referring to that, I say, oh, I like it. That raga. The raga takes place, that's why he says, Sukha Anushayi Raga. Sukha Anushayi, thirst for pleasure, is called raga. Based upon the earlier memories, the impurity of raga takes place because it wants to engage in that similar experiences again and again and again. It wants to strengthen that memory. It wants to repeat that experience. That wanting to repeat an experience which gives pleasure is called raga. And to get rid of an experience which gives pain is called dvesha. More of it we'll see in the next session. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasyad Dukkha Bhat Bhavet. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.